Yo people, welcome back to another review, this time Daredevil Born Again episode 7, and for me, I liked this episode. It really intensified the main plots that we need to focus on heading into those final two episodes. This was another good episode this season that was more fast paced comparison to other ones that we've seen so far. So the first positive I have to mention is Muse. I think he was a great character. Him just being there as a regular person looked quite creepy, so good job to the actor. I think all the scenes that he was in were very interesting because you just wouldn't know what he was going to do next and he would keep you on the edge of your seat. As much as people may be upset with his death or saying it happened too soon or they wasted a character, I'm gonna have to disagree with that, to be honest. I understand that there's been 3 big deaths so far in 7 episodes and it may be a lot for some people, but for me, I think they all make sense. They all have a storyline purpose, which is the most important thing, and they aren't just being killed off for the sake of it or for shock value. Foggy's death was the one that stopped Matt Murdock from being Daredevil, as himself and Kingpin shared the parallel of quitting their alter egos as they tried to live without that part of themselves for a whole year, and clearly it's not worked for both of them. White Tiger's death was to show us Kingpin's first power move as the mayor, and it was to take the police force, which showed us the corruption of the police and the law system, showing us how things can happen and just be cleared under the rug if Kingpin wants it to be. Some police are working as quote-unquote Punisher fanboys, some are being sellouts, some just don't care about their jobs, which shows us why New York is in the state that it is in terms of security. Standards are so low that when Kingpin and the police actually do stuff later on, they'll get praised and they'll get glazed. Now, the most recent death with Muse was one that not only crosses the paths of Daredevil and Kingpin even more, but shows us Kingpin's second power move, which is the manipulation of the media, which brings me to my second positive of this episode. I liked seeing the whole Kingpin manipulation of the media because it elevates his level of corruption and fraudulence as mayor of New York. This time, he's trying to lie to everyone about the death of Muse because he doesn't want people knowing that Daredevil's back. He doesn't want people knowing that Daredevil is actually helping around in the city instead of his police force. He wants his task force to get the credit so that ultimately Fisk gets the credit when things get better in the city, and people will think it's because of Fisk and not because of Daredevil and other vigilantes. This is one very big way of swaying the masses and just showing us how much power Kingpin actually has as mayor. Some even say that when you control the media, you control the masses. One side note as well that I liked seeing was Buck and that other secretary guy, I don't know his name, I forget his name, but they start to position themselves on the hierarchy as some of Kingpin's most important people in this episode. So I like how they're starting to build up all the different hierarchies. Now, the negative is Vanessa. I feel like they keep trying to make her feel important as the mafia leader while Kingpin was away during the Hawkeye show and the Echo show, but I personally don't care for this. Had they have given us more backstory or shown us some flashbacks or just shown us her importance in other ways other than conversation with bots, maybe have her lie to Kingpin's face a lot more and just show the accomplishments that she actually did while he was away, then I'd care for it. But this whole storyline was predictable that she was going to betray Kingpin. If this was prime MCU, which luckily we're not in this phase anymore, then this show ends with Vanessa becoming the new Kingpin or making an absolute clown out of Kingpin. Luckily we're not. I think the only way they save this and make it relevant is the way that I think they're going down. It is that Kingpin realizes Vanessa is trying to get him killed, or she just betrays him flat out in front of everyone, which triggers Kingpin. The one person he truly cared about has now gone against him, and this creates a new ruthless Kingpin, hopefully. This new version would have no mercy and would elevate his dictatorship levels even higher, creating more threats and more problems, which we would be able to see in Daredevil Season 2 and potentially Spider-Man 4. I don't know if the show will have the balls to do this, but I'd go as far as to have Kingpin potentially kill Vanessa by accident or badly beat her as he loses control of his emotions and sheds his weakness in Vanessa. Ultimately, she was the only reason he had any sort of emotions left. Now, one reason I also say this could happen is because the relationship counselor asks Vanessa if Kingpin has ever hit her, and she says no, he'd never do that, etc. So I think that was a foreshadowing. But yeah, overall, it's picking up now. I do expect at least one more big death by the end of this show. I do think this is getting us one step closer to becoming the best Disney Plus show that Disney has made. Although Netflix will have a massive assist, they did all the world building and they did all the hard work so that Disney could just feed off of the good writing from before. My prediction for these final 2 episodes, I don't know what order, I'm just going to say stuff, but my prediction is that Kingpin will break out Bullseye from jail in order to trigger Daredevil, as that is the man that obviously killed Foggy, and ultimately we'll see if Daredevil will lose himself in the rage and anger, or if he will stay true to himself. I think we'll see the Punisher unite with Daredevil in a final fight, but ultimately I do think this ends in some form of a loss for Daredevil. Maybe Kingpin manipulates the media or sets up Daredevil to look bad and have his whole image ruined, but for sure this won't have a good guy happy ending. Also, I think Kingpin, obviously as I mentioned before, will get rid of Vanessa. I think Angela will get the amulet, and by the end of the show this will just confirm that she will be the next White Tiger. As for cameos, I think we might see maybe Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, someone from that Netflix era of shows, and I think this show will end, or maybe in terms of end credit scene, I think it will be Mr. Khan and Matt Murdock having that planned family dinner that they agreed to do back in the bank episode, and this is where we will see the first time that Kamala Khan meets Matt Murdock, which starts uniting more heroes from the New York and New Jersey areas. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What did you make of this episode? How do you think this show will end? Any predictions you have, let me know down below. I'd appreciate if you could hit the like button, sub to the channel, and thank you for your time.